Well, good day. Today is pork day. I'm going to make a bacon joint with a pork leg, and then I've got a large rack of ribs, and I'm going to make some bacon ribs, some barbecued spare ribs, and some salt and pepper spare ribs. So the very first thing we're going to do is to get the cure mix in, and then for that I've got a third of a cup of salt, third of a cup of, I'm using brown sugar, but you can use white if you prefer, and a teaspoonful of pink curing salt. Give that a good mix up. Get our piece of pork, get it all in there and rub it well in. What we've got to do with this is put it in a plastic bag in the bottom of the fridge, and every morning just turn it over for 3 full days, and then it will be cured into a beautiful bacon joint. Easy peasy. Bacon joint into a plastic bag. We're going to put a good portion of that mix in on top of it. Tie that up. In 3 days time we'll have a bacon joint. Now then, our ribs. So I'm going to do this in thirds. A third bacon ribs, and a third barbecue spare ribs, and a third salt and pepper ribs. So there should be 12 ribs. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right, so this one I'm going to do as bacon ribs. I'm going to take the same mix and rub it well in. And this recipe, once again, into a plastic bag. Put the residue of the cure in there. Squeeze the air out, seal them up. Put them both in a container, bottom of the fridge. Every morning, turn them over. Now the ribs, because they're thin, will probably be cured in less than, well, probably 36 hours, where the leg is going to be 3 days, it's going to be 72 hours. As a matter of interest, a full side of ribs like this in Thailand is roughly about 200 baht. So I think it represents quite good value for money. Right, what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to cut them up now into sections for curing, and we're going to cure these we're going to boil these ribs in a curing mix of, again, garlic, onion, sugar, salt, maybe a stick of celery, and they're going to simmer in a pan for about an hour and a half, and they'll be falling off the bone tender, and then comes the next stage. Well, we've got an absolute feast of spare ribs there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on now and get those in a brine and simmer them for an hour and a half stroke 2 hours. Okay, part 2 of making ribs. We've got here a pan with boiling water, and what we're going to add into that is a half cup of sugar, a half cup of salt, and we're going to add in an onion and 5 cloves of garlic. Give that a good stir up. So this is our brine, and into that we're going to place our ribs. So there we've got our pan full of ribs. We're going to put the lid on, bring that back to the boil and turn it down to simmer for about an hour and a half. We'll be fine. In this bowl is our coating for the salt and pepper ribs, and what I've got in there is 4 tablespoons full of corn flour, 1.5 tablespoons full of salt and 1.5 of pepper, 2 teaspoons of Chinese 5 spices, and I'm going to mix that up, and we'll coat this on the ribs as they come out. Now then, this is the barbecue sauce, and this is a bought one that comes from, they sell it in Mackerel, they sell it in Tesco. If anybody wants to make their own, I will give you a recipe to make your own. It's very simple to make barbecue sauce. We're looking at treacle or molasses, if you like, black molasses. We're looking at tomato sauce, we're looking at some brown sugar, and we are looking at some white vinegar. Mix it all up, heat it in a pan, and it makes the most fabulous barbecue sauce. But this is quick, this is easy, and this is very good. Right, we're going to put some of these ribs in this pan, and I'm putting the slightly larger ones in. These are going to be the barbecue, so I'm going to just put over these some barbecue sauce, and then we're going to flip them over. And put on some more. I have to say that I've used this barbecue sauce hundreds of times. I do, and I have made my own, but this is rather fantastic. This meat is already falling off the bone tender. All we're going to do is we're going to put this, we're going to cover it with foil, and we're going to put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. The oven will be about 180 C. It's a fan oven, but as I said, they're going to be covered with foil. Right, preheated oven 180 for about 20-25 minutes. With these ribs we want a good coating on here, cracking coating on there. So we dust them all in, making sure we got plenty of that coating on. Salt, pepper, corn flour to make it all bind together, and Chinese 5 spices. They're gonna be so good. Who doesn't like spare ribs, eh? Now you might be wondering about the bacon ribs. Well, the bacon ribs are curing in the refrigerator in the house, and they are going to be wrapped in foil and put in the oven with the barbecue ribs clearly separate. My word, only just enough there, isn't there, eh? Did I get that right or what? And shake the rest over. Now then, and that oil is well hot. The ribs are still warm from their cooking, so they're not going to chill the oil very much. I'm going to turn them at about 4 minutes. Now I've only done one little section, just 4 ribs of the bacon ribs, and you can see in 24 hours how the colour has changed in the meat. It's gone to that lovely, rich, dark bacon colour. So what I'm going to do with that now is I'm going to rinse the salt off. And I'm going to put that in oil. I'm going to put that in the oven for about, probably I would think, about 45 minutes. But I'll check it after half an hour and see how it is. But it should be beautiful. In the meantime, our salt and pepper ribs are looking rather fantastic. They've been in the pan now for a total of 6 minutes and 45. So I'm going to turn the heat off and have a look at one or two of them. I've got some of these salt and pepper ribs and I'm going to try one. Oh. Tender, crunchy. Got the salty, got the pepper, got that hint of Chinese 5 spices. Absolutely knockout. Now, Jim Frater, good friend to this channel, Jim said bacon ribs and mushy peas were his favourite. But guess what, Jim? When those bacon ribs come out, I'm going to put them with a portion of homemade mushy peas and they will be knockout. So James, cheers. Have a Leo. Beautiful. Now then, there are a parcel of barbecued spare ribs and they've been in the oven now for about 30 minutes. I'm going to put them, they're not going back in the oven, but I just cover them with the foil and let them stand there and cook on, and they'll be great in about 15-20 minutes. Well, for sweet, we are making bread and butter pudding with a difference. Now this is not like your traditional bread and butter pudding. I am here to tell you this is much better because I'm not making it with bread, I'm making it with butter croissants. So it's going to be butter croissants, a half a dozen eggs, sultanas, raisins, butter, vanilla, milk, cream, sugar, and it will be absolutely knockout. And we start by drizzling the butter croissants with a little bit more butter. Some raisins on here, some sultanas, and this is going to be rich, it's going to be beautiful. And my Thai nephews absolutely wolf this down. This container will be gone in a matter of 20 minutes. They will eat the whole lot, including my sister-in-law Tong, who absolutely loves it. Now, it's very important you don't get the carrots and raisins on top because the oven will burn them. Bit more butter on there. And what we're going to do, we're going to put some milk and some eggs together. So for a large portion like this, I'm going to do 3 heaped dessert spoons full of sugar. Mix that in. Put some vanilla in there. some full milk, and I'm going to add some cream in there as well. It's only canned cream, but this makes a very rich egg custard over that bread pudding. Now then, press it down with your Jim Dandies and it's a can of Falcon cream you get here in Thailand. I'll put in there a tad more vanilla essence. Now we're going to let that soak in there for about 15 minutes before we put it in the oven. Bread and butter pudding, look at that, Mac. Alright, Mac, Ann? And this is that fore rib of, this is a bacon ribs, skewered pork ribs into bacon and cooked in foil in the oven. That is going to be absolutely knockout. Bread and butter pudding. My Thai family are going to absolutely devour that like there's no tomorrow. Seriously, that is a really good bread and butter pudding. See you later, guys. Bye bye for now.